The mansion stood in silence. The only sound echoing through its marble halls was the sharp click of polished shoes. A wealthy businessman, drained after another endless day, returned home earlier than usual. As he opened the towering white doors, he suddenly froze. From the study room came a chorus of unfamiliar voices, words flowing like music: Spanish, French, Arabic, Chinese, and another tongue he could barely recognize. His chest tightened. Who was in his house speaking in so many languages? He crept closer, briefcase swinging at his side. But when he peered through the narrow crack of the door, the sight that met his eyes stunned him more than any betrayal in the boardroom ever had. There she was, his quiet maid, the woman who always blended into the background of his home, standing before his young son. With passion in her voice and energy in her movements, she was teaching him languages. Not one, not two, but five. The boy's little face glowed with joy, repeating each word as his eyes sparkled brighter than diamonds. The father's breath caught. For years, he had poured fortunes into tutors, gadgets, and luxuries, yet none had ever reached his child's heart the way this woman had. For a moment, tears he never thought he had rose to his eyes. Dear viewers, before I continue, pause with me. This is not just another story. It is about sacrifice, hidden gifts, and the miracle of kindness appearing in the most unexpected places. If this moment touches you, please like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to our channel Kindness Corner. The father had built his empire on strict rules. In his world, every servant had a duty, every object a purpose. The maid's role was to clean, cook, and watch over his son in his absence. But hidden inside her was a story of her own. Once a dreamer, a student who longed to become a teacher, poverty stole her chalkboard and handed her a broom. Yet here, in the quiet hours of this grand house, she found a second chance. She began with letters, then words, then whole sentences, and the boy, hungry to learn, soaked it all in like a sponge. That evening, fate had allowed the father to witness the secret that had blossomed under his very roof. At first, anger burned inside him. How dare his maid cross her boundaries? But as he listened closer, his fury softened. He heard his son's laughter, his excitement, his pride as he spoke Spanish words. He saw the joy in his son's eyes as he pointed to flags, eager and alive. And he saw the maid smiling, her hands clapping with pride, as if she were teaching her own child. The father leaned against the wall, shaken. He realized the truth. He had been so blinded by money and ambition that he had forgotten the true treasure, nurturing his child's heart and mind. Weeks passed. Every evening, he quietly stood at the door, listening. French verbs, Arabic letters, Chinese characters, lessons filled with warmth and love. His boy was transforming before his very eyes. But one night during a family gathering, his relatives mocked him. They laughed. How shameful, letting a servant raise your son. Their words pierced his pride. For a moment, doubt crept in. Should he stop this? But then his boy stood proudly before them, greeting the guests in French and Spanish. His eyes glowed with confidence. And at that moment, the father knew his relatives were blind. True wealth was not gold, not reputation. It was the courage to value kindness, no matter where it came from. The next morning, everything changed. The father entered the study room, no longer a silent observer. He set down his briefcase, sat beside his son, and whispered, "Teach me too." The maid froze, her eyes brimming with tears. The boy clapped in delight, and in that instant, the invisible wall between master and servant vanished. They were united not by class, but by knowledge, love, and dreams. The days that followed were nothing short of a miracle. The maid became more than a helper. She was now the boy's teacher, the father's guide, and the soul of the household. The boy flourished, speaking 5 languages with confidence before the age of 10. The father, humbled, began to see the world differently. He funded schools in the maid's village, ensuring no child would lose their dreams to poverty as she once had. Years later, his son stood before a crowd, speaking in 5 languages to honor her. And before the world, he called her by the name she had always deserved, My second mother. The father wept openly that day, unashamed, overwhelmed with gratitude, for in the quiet devotion of his maid, he had found life's greatest treasure, not riches, not power, but the wealth of love, knowledge, and humility. Dear viewers, if this story touched your heart even a little, please like this video, share it with your family, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Before we end, I ask you one thing. Who was the greatest teacher in your life, and what did they teach you? Comment below. Your story might inspire someone else today. And remember, the greatest lessons often come not from where we expect them, but from those who believe in us quietly when the world does not.